I'm Priscilla Archangel, and my leadership insight for you today is your foundation crumbling? What if you looked at the foundation of your home and realized that it was crumbling? That the cracks appearing in your walls and ceiling were a result of shifting and eroding in the underpinnings of the building? You would realize the need to get it fixed pretty quickly. Well, there's a whole city now that's crumbling. And yes, it's the city of Amsterdam, the capital of the Netherlands, and it's suffering from cracks and sinkholes along its waterways. You see, much of the city was built centuries ago on a marshland by driving wooden stakes deep into the ground to provide a steady foundation upon which to construct the buildings. That means that multi-story houses are leaning, and some of their 1,600 bridges are also closed for safety reasons, and 200 kilometers of canals need repairs. The overall cost for all of this is estimated at close to €500 million. Many companies go through exercises to stress test the foundation of their business model and their processes against future trends, uncertain events, and economic disruptions. They identify areas of weakness and then determine appropriate steps to address them. The probability of the occurrence of the simulated crisis is always an issue in determining whether to mitigate the risk. But who would have ever thought that shopping malls or restaurants would be closed for months, or that millions of students would be learning virtually, or that hundreds of thousands of office buildings would be closed and their former occupants working from home, or that 50 people gathered in one spot would be considered a crowd? The list goes on, you get the picture. A seemingly small change in your operating model can threaten your viability and weaken your financial leverage. And while it's impossible to address every threat, you can strategically decide where you want to take action. Here are 4 learnings as you think about doing that. First of all, broaden your simulation. Crises are no longer just occurring back to back. They're stacked on top of one another. That requires leaders to be more creative in anticipating what could go wrong and forecasting the increasingly limited resources that might be available to address it. The second tip, be willing to invest in the future. Companies who invested in their IT infrastructure and security before 2020 were better prepared when employees were suddenly banished from the office and forced to work remotely. You have to pay the price now to ensure a better outcome later. Third tip, it may be messier before it gets better. Living in Michigan as I do, we like to joke that we have 2 seasons of the year. Road construction, marked by endless orange barrels, and winter. Road construction is a mess. Commutes are longer, traffic is snarled. We almost prefer to continuing to dodge potholes and pray that we don't have a tire blowout. But when it's done, it's so much better. The process is painful, but the result has long-lasting benefits. And the fourth tip, identify the lessons learned from the current crises and embed them in your organization. By now, many companies have postponed or canceled the projects and processes that don't really add value in the middle of a crisis. So identify what's worked in your organization over the past months and keep doing it. If you identify wooden pilings in your foundation, now is the time to consider an upgrade to a concrete or steel footing. The greater your goals for growth, the greater your need for a solid basis to support it. There's no value in recognizing a crumbling foundation if you're not willing to take steps to repair or to reconstruct it. Thanks for listening.